Welcome to part 5 of Seal Up the Book, Daniel, until it be the time. Seal up the book, Daniel, until it be the time. And now it is the time. The book is unsealed. As we was talking, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego has now been, as we were reading, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego has now been ratted out by the jealous ones. Anyways, verse 13. This is Daniel 3, verse 13. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said to them, "Is it true? Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not you serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now, if you be ready, at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, the saxophone, the psaltery, and declaimer, and all kinds of music, you fall not down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if you worship not, you shall be cast the same hour into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. And who is the God that shall deliver you out of my hand?" They're about to find out. I love this part. I can't help it. I love this part. This is about God. This is one of my favorite parts in the whole Bible. I know we shouldn't be like that, but it's like superheroes. God is the best superhero in the world. He is. And he is a deliverer. Still to this day, he is a deliverer. How many know that? I do. Whoop, whoop. Yes, God is a deliverer. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful," which means full of care or needing, "to answer you in this matter." Ha ha! Sounds like something I'd have said. Just maybe not in those words. "If it be so, our God," which is Elohim, Adonai, God, "whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of his hand, O king." Or he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. Sorry. I was thinking. He will deliver us out of your hand, O king. "But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods, neither worship the golden image which you have set up." And Nebuchadnezzar, full of fury, and the form of his vestige was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spoke and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it wont to be heated. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Wasn't like he needed to bind them because they were willing to walk in. Why bind them? But hey, it's good for a show, right? And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Yippee! Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spoke, and said to his counselors, Did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said to the king, True, O king. He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spoke and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you servants of the Most High God, come forth, come here. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth out of the midst of the fire. And the princes, governors, and captains, and kings, and counselors, being gathered together, saw these men upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was a hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has set his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's words, or has changed the king's word rather, and yielded their body, that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which spake anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut into pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. No, there is not. There is no other God besides Elohim, which is Jesus. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego in the province of Babylon. Chapter 4. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, to all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied to you. I thought it good to show the signs and wonders that the high God has wrought toward me. How great are his signs, and how mighty are his wonders. His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and his dominion is from generation to generation. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at rest in my house and flourishing in my palace. And I saw in a dream which made me afraid. And the thoughts upon my bed and the visions of my head troubled me. Therefore made I a decree to bring in all the wise men of Babylon before me, that they might be made known to me, that they might make known to me the interpretation of the dream. Then came in the magicians and the astrologers and the Chaldeans and the soothsayers, and I told the dream before them, but they did not make known to me the interpretation thereof. But at last Daniel came in before me, whose name was Belshazzar, according to the name of my God, and in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. And before him I told the dream, saying, O Belshazzar, master of magicians, because I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in you, and no secret troubles you. Tell me the vision of my dream that I have seen, and the interpretation thereof. Thus was the vision of my head in my bed. I saw, and behold, a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height thereof was great. The tree grew and was strong, and the height thereof reached to the heavens, and the sight thereof to the end of all the earth. The leaves thereof were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all the beasts of the field had shade, or had a shadow under it, and the fowls of the heaven dwell in the boughs thereof, and all flesh was fed of it as food. And I'm going to stop there for now, and we will pick up at chapter 4, verse 13 in the next part. See you then.